I just think of myself as Floyd Mayweather. What I want the people to really know is this, and what they got to really know is this. I can really fight. So that's what you got to know. I don't know if he had 1 fight or 2 fights against, like, probably another YouTuber. I don't really know. He can come out, fight hard as you want to fight. The results will always be the same.
We couldn't fight in LA. Commissioner said, Floyd, don't hit him too hard. Go light on him. Take it easy on him. I said, well, LA, y'all can't get this fight.
A lot of times when guys fight me, guys fight just to go the distance, to say, I went the distance with Floyd Mayweather. But guess what? Can't stop me. You name a fighter, the results, it's always the same. I tell my kids, go out and build your own legacy like I did for myself. I was able to beat the best in my era. I'm still undefeated. I mean, I think it's gonna be crazy. And I think it's good for the sport of boxing. But I'm not worried. You can mark my word to this. I can guarantee you this.
Let's get one thing straight before we even begin. Nobody asked for this fight. Everybody denied wanting this fight. And yet here we are absolutely losing our minds over this fight. That is the Mayweather-Tyson paradox in a nutshell. And frankly, it might be the most honest thing boxing has produced in a decade. Floyd Mayweather Jr. is supposed to be retired, semi-retired, exhibition mode, collecting checks and Instagram followers in equal measure. That was the narrative. That was the comfortable story we all agreed to tell ourselves so we could sleep at night without worrying that one of the greatest defensive technicians in the history of combat sports was still out here.
Nope. Nope. Yeah.
Somewhere in a Las Vegas gym at an ungodly hour, making 25-year-olds look foolish in sparring sessions. But then the training footage dropped. And brother, let me tell you, retired men do not move like that.
Woo.
Retired men do not drill rhythm combinations with that kind of laser-guided precision. Retired men do not slip, roll, and counter with the mechanical efficiency of a Swiss watch that also happens to possess a devastating right hand.
I don't see this one coming unless you know the history of these two guys.
Yeah, they don't like each other too much, do they, Shawn?
When you look at the history, it's kind of like sense for a street fight. It doesn't make sense for like a in-the-ring situation. And so it's kind of like, I guess for the sake of words, crazier things have happened. And then now you have to say, well, no, it doesn't get.
The footwork alone should be classified as a threat to public safety. Every clip that surfaces from Camp Mayweather looks less like an old man staying in shape and more like a man with something to prove, something to settle.
Because he did not spar. If he's going to get in the ring with Floyd Mayweather, the thing he needs more than he needed with Jake is timing. The timing just wasn't there in the fight with Jake Paul. If he's going to get in the ring with Floyd Mayweather, he's going to have to do some sparring. He's going to have to spar some, really fast guys. And I don't know at what level he's going to take this serious. You know what I mean? I don't know. Mike, I think he's just beyond that age of there's something you can do to muster it up.
Right.
I think he's all catch up.
And a very specific plan for how he intends to embarrass someone in front of millions of people who paid very good money to watch it happen. Floyd is not treating this like a payday. Floyd is treating this like a vendetta dressed up in exhibition clothing. And the scariest part, he might be completely right to do so.
So the thing that I think would be really interesting to see would be to see Mike get a hold of him,
Yeah.
Because I think if Mike were to get a hold of him, Floyd's a professional. He knows how to get out of those things. But this is like 200 and something pounds, and it's Mike Tyson, and I know mentally it's I finally got you, and I wonder what that's gonna look like, So it's not.
Meanwhile, across town in the land of common sense, Shawn Porter is sitting there looking at the matchup sheet like someone handed him a math test written in ancient Sumerian. Porter.
They have it here. Mike 59, Floyd 48, Mike 5'10", Floyd at 5'8", Floyd with a 72-inch reach at 5'8", Mike with one of the shortest reaches for his height, 50-7, 50-0, and their KOs. No mention of the weight here in the tail of the tape. Interesting. An exact date and precise location are not yet known, but nonetheless, Tyson said he's thrilled to be slated to mix it up with Floyd, who he hasn't always had the greatest relationship. Quote, "This fight is something neither the world nor I ever thought would or could happen." That is correct. Fair play to Mike there. Iron Mike said, however, boxing has entered a new era of the unpredictable, and this fight is
A man who has been in the fire, who has felt what it means to stand across from elite opposition and survive, is asking the questions that polite boxing society refuses to ask out loud. He is pointing at the size difference, the age gap.
no. Floyd, even though he's slowed down, even though he's much smaller, is going to run circles around Mike Tyson in this. Mike's going to have real trouble even getting to the fight. If we saw the Jake Paul exhibition, Mike was hospitalized for a bit. Then he had to take a lot of time off from training, had a stomach ulcer, and then again, the limping to the ring. Oh, man. The whole detrimental to his health. It's detrimental to Mike's health to even try to do this. The article keeps going, this fight will be an exhibition, so Mayweather isn't risking his perfect 50-0 record, though he doesn't sound concerned about Tyson in any way. I've been doing this for 30 years, and there hasn't been a single fighter that can...
The entire geological distance between where Mike Tyson currently exists as an athlete and where Floyd Mayweather currently exists as a precision instrument of destruction.
Pacquiao? By the way, when Floyd, the rumors were, or the reporting was that he was going broke, you were skeptical about it. Now that he's coming back, are you still skeptical about it?
Very good, Max. Yeah. Are you skeptical about it, Shady?
That's one thing I don't do. I don't talk about no other athletes' money. I don't do that.
By the way, my hope is that Floyd isn't going broke.
Right. So
if he is, that he makes all the money in the world for a Pacquiao fight and rides off into the sunset a rich man, I wish him the best.
I want to fight somebody. I don't care about the money and all that.
Who you want him to fight?
That's not good with Pacquiao. Pacquiao just drew.
And he is saying, with the measured calm of a man who has seen too much, this does not add up. And he is not wrong. Porter's concern about sparring quality cuts even deeper when you examine it honestly. To prepare for Mayweather, to even simulate the experience of being in the ring with that kind of rhythm, that kind of timing, that specific brand of shoulder roll wizardry, you need sparring partners who are fast, sharp, young, and relentlessly active.
I'm trying to be objective. Pacquiao jumped more weight classes. What he did pound for pound to me was more impressive.
But you have him over Floyd in the pound for pound.
Never thought Pacquiao was going to beat Floyd, ever.
But
never
Pacquiao,
thought
he's one of my favorite fighters.
Who?
Floyd and Pacquiao, they're one of my favorite fighters. But I still want
Floyd's
to see
the longer, bigger, better defensive fighter.
Right.
But let's be real, what this is all about, business. This is going to be a mega event. Doesn't matter how old they are. They're the two biggest names in boxing today, even if they aren't, necessarily the most active fighters. And Mayweather's going to have...
You need people who can replicate a pace that most fighters never even dream about maintaining. The question hanging in the air like cigarette smoke is whether Tyson had access to that. Whether the preparation matched the occasion.
Is whatever you thought about that fight going in, when that fight was going on, you had to watch it. The question about making a big event is it compelling enough that even if I talk about this with Jake Paul sometimes, right? Whatever you want to say, when he chooses the right opponent, you're going to...
Whether the man who once made the entire heavyweight division collectively wet themselves as walking into something that his body simply cannot follow his legend into anymore. But here's where the story gets deliciously complicated, because Wade, our resident voice of analytical bewilderment, is out here suggesting that maybe, just maybe, the entire premise of asking whether this fight makes sense is itself the wrong question. Wade is looking at signed contracts and blinking slowly, processing the information like a man who just found out that his favorite restaurant started serving dessert for breakfast. He is not angry. He is not outraged. He is something far more interesting. He is confused in a way that implies boxing has officially, formally, and without apology entered an era where the rulebook has been set on fire and everyone agreed to pretend the smoke smells fine. This is the spectacle era. The Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson event did not just happen. It ripped open a portal, and through that portal have stepped every aging icon, every nostalgia-soaked matchup, every fight that would have been laughed out of a traditional sanctioning body's office, but generates 50 million pay-per-view searches before the press conference even ends. Wade sees this Mayweather-Tyson conversation as the natural evolution, or perhaps devolution, depending on your philosophical flexibility, of that moment. Not a boxing match in the traditional sense. Something bigger, something stranger, something that operates by rules still being written in real time. And the business case, let's be absolutely clear, is iron. You want to talk about rankings? Forget rankings. You want to discuss ring rust and competitive legitimacy? Beautiful, discuss away. While the accountants quietly count 9 figures in projected revenue, Mayweather and Tyson are not athletes in the conventional commercial sense anymore. They are franchises. They are mythologies wearing boxing gloves. They are 2 of the most recognizable human beings on planet Earth. Full stop, no asterisk, no qualifier needed. When those names appear on a marquee together, something ancient and primal fires in the human brain that bypasses logic entirely and goes straight to the part that remembers being 8 years old and watching highlights that made your jaw hit the floor. Manny Pacquiao, lurking in the background of these conversations, only amplifies the point. These are not fighters looking for one last competitive challenge. These are icons on a legacy tour, curating their own mythology, monetizing their own greatness, and doing so with the full understanding that the audience does not need to believe the fight is a genuine athletic contest to desperately want to watch it. They just need to believe that something extraordinary, something unrepeatable, something worth telling people about on Monday morning might happen when the bell rings. And with these 2, that belief is not difficult to manufacture. It practically generates itself. Here's the part that nobody wants to admit, but everyone secretly knows. The tension between all of these perspectives is precisely what makes this fight appointment television. It should not work. The size gap is real. The age dynamics are real. The sparring preparation questions are legitimate. The commercial motivation is transparent as glass and twice as fragile. Every single criticism that Porter raises is valid. Every concern that Wade voices is reasonable. Every analytical framework that suggests this fight belongs more in an entertainment category than a sports category has genuine merit, and none of it matters. Not one syllable of it changes the fundamental, unshakable, almost supernatural reality that when Floyd Mayweather and Mike Tyson stand across a ring from each other, whether in their absolute prime or somewhere well past it, the entire world stops rotating on its axis for a moment and collectively holds its breath. That is not logic. That is not statistics. That is not anything that can be measured by a punch stat tracker or a CompuBox printout. That is pure, undiluted Category 5 star power colliding with itself. And in the modern attention economy, that collision is worth more than any clean competitive narrative you could construct from scratch. The audacity of this matchup is its greatest asset. The fact that it makes serious analysts furrow their brows and reach for their calculators is a feature, not a bug. The fact that it lives in this wild, lawless territory between genuine sport and theatrical spectacle is what gives it its gravitational pull. We are all critics. We are all skeptics. We are all, to varying degrees, Shawn Porter standing there with a list of perfectly reasonable objections. And we are all going to be sitting in front of our screens when that first bell rings, hearts doing something complicated in our chests because the part of us that loves boxing, that truly, unreasonably, irrationally loves what this sport can produce at its most electric. That part does not listen to reason. It listens to names. It listens to history. It listens to the sound of 2 legends sharing the same air, the same canvas, the same impossible moment. In modern boxing, intrigue is undefeated. And this fight has more intrigue than it has any right to possess. Floyd is sharp, Tyson is dangerous, the business is booming, the skeptics are correct, the spectacle is inevitable. And somewhere between all of those contradictions, suspended in that wild, electric, completely unjustifiable space, that is where the most compelling fight of the nostalgia era is quietly, patiently, and very lucratively waiting for us. Logic lost this argument the moment the contract was signed. The only thing left to do now is watch.